Earlier in the discussion, and now I'm going to Chief Wusu. There was a question, and I think it was the presidential aspirant who mentioned the issue of leadership and solving. You also mentioned that, you know, our problem is leadership. We solve the one of leadership. Leaders don't drop from the sky. They emerge from amongst the followers. It's from among the followers that leaders emerge. Even in biblical terms, Moses was an Israelite. He wasn't an Egyptian. So in our own case, is it fair to expect this kind of leadership to emerge when every day we see examples of equally bad followers?
Thank you. As I said earlier, the problem has to do with the leadership. And it's for the leader to design the processes and to also try to inspire the values they want in their people. A leader who cannot, especially in a political process, you bring yourself up to be governor or to be president or to be, you know, legislator in your constituency. You have a duty to your people and to the country to prepare yourself well and to lead well. Set up a clear template and move the process. Where you are failing, if we have a lot of Nigerians who are not good, after 2 years, 3 years of your leadership, the leader should be able to take responsibility. Shifting responsibility to the people is completely wrong. It's like you're ducking from that you presented yourself for. Now, for instance, in 1999, between 1999 to 2006, EFCC was established. And one of the governing principle as far as EFCC is concerned is that the chairman of EFCC must be confirmed by the National Assembly, the Senate. Then here we have an elected president who has kept EFCC chairman on that seat without the legislative backing. That's completely wrong. When you do that, what do you expect of your people? In ADC, we say the leader must model the role you want the people to, the path you want the people to follow. Then you treat constituted issues with impunity in a democratic setup. That's wrong. You are laying this, the wrong foundation. That structure has been set up. Well-thinking people set it up. All of a sudden, within the last 3 years, we are destroying EFCC. Look at again. Recently, after the Oshu election, and we now went to rerun, did you see that document that the same party in power signed with Omishore, dropping every EFCC wahala that he has? Because this is repugnant. And these are the things that result in a system decay. You set up a structure, some people will come to abuse it, and you hear elected persons or people who claim to be Democrats because they are on the paycheck, and then they stand up to defend it.
Sorry, let me just give Mr. Additional a chance to respond, because he's talking about the ruling party, you know, being responsible for breaking down the very structures that they put in place themselves. And I saw you vigorously, you know, disagreeing there.
especially with reference to the Osun elections and this purported agreement. We say purported because there has been no certified true copy of it made available. Yes. And we need to be very careful with this. Now, first of all, is there such an agreement? Are you aware of such an agreement between the ruling party and the SDP in Osun? And secondly, if you are, would that be keeping in line with the transparency and accountability rule of the government?
Thank you. I am glad you used the word purported agreement because it settles it for me. I'm surprised that Dr. Ralph was referring to a so-called document that has not been authenticated. Did he try to authenticate that document? In this era, anybody can come up with anything, can concoct anything, put it on social media, and it begins to masquerade as a truth. As far as I'm concerned, I do not think there is any genuine document out there signed between SDP or Senator Mishori and the APC. Nothing like that. So, unless that document is authenticated and it is admitted that this is correct, that is when we can begin to talk about it. We know that there is a lot of mischief flying around in the country. And as far as I'm concerned, that document, whatever it contains, is just the figment of somebody's imagination. So we do not even need to begin to comment on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Additional, for clearing that up. But he's talking about something being the figment of one's imagination. But one thing that we are not imagining at all is the cross-carpeting that we see. You see somebody in the APC for 1 month, and then before you know it, 3 days later, they're off. You know, the jury is still out about how legal it is for you to retain the ticket when you leave the seat. I don't know what you find, you know, as you're trying to come into this space where
you don't have the seat yet.
And I don't
have the seat yet.
What kind of structure? That's my biggest question to you is what sort of structure you have in place, the loyalty of your followers, for you not to see this kind of, you know, you think you have 10 people behind you and you find you have just one. I don't know.
And you do have this kind of problem. You did.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like I said, I came into this head first, like everything thrown in, nothing kept aside, nothing left behind, like everything in. But I was shocked, and then I realized that's okay too. Get used to it, understand it, and follow it through. If I don't become president in 2019, they will see me in 2023. If I'm not in 2020, they'll see me in 2027. Until I cannot even walk anymore, they'll keep seeing me.
There are very good examples of people.
At least Buhari finally became after four trials. So at the end of the day, I know that there's so much to do, and there is a way to do it. And luckily for me, I am able to see things completely differently from everybody else. So I know that my strategy will eventually get me there. Okay, now in terms of what is wrong with the cross-carpeting, the Constitution also dealt with it to an extent, but then did it for the National Assembly and didn't do it for the executive roles. It tells you if you leave unless there is, yes, yeah, but then the courts now misinterpret that so that it now becomes that any quarrel they have in any party, you leave and it's okay. So a lot of the problems we have is also because of the judiciary. We also have this picking people and putting them there because they're under your payroll, kind of, in the judiciary, and then you have the judiciary not doing what they should do. Now, lawyers are the best liars. I am one, but sorry. The truth is, you can actually, as a good lawyer, interpret almost everything to mean exactly the same, like opposite. You can interpret it this way and it's correct, and interpret it that way and it's correct. And then the people who are in the payroll of these ones that want a particular interpretation that doesn't favor the community, they get the interpretation they need, and then it stays because you can argue it. So you can literally argue anything out. And that's why I'm saying a lot of this is because of the leadership. If we have the right people, upright people who are really interested in accountability and transparency, we'll see we'll see things develop differently in Nigeria. Even with this same constitution we are blaming for everything. Everybody, the professors will tell you Section 6 of our constitution. I tell them it's not true. It is the person that you have elected as your president first. That is the first problem. Because the moment he is doing it right, everybody is too afraid to do it wrong that you just find that things start working.
Okay, Prof, I can see you listening with rapt attention to her new models and her ideas. What do you think about all that?
Well, my take is that of Joseph de Maistre. Okay. And he says that if people get the government that they deserve, you see, if Nigerians are complacent, and he will not stand up to immoral conduct, then we justify that particular conduct. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And quite sincerely, the judges too, they have part of the blame, but they don't have all the blame. The problem, I think, like the patriots pointed out a long time ago, is that Constitution, Decree 24 of 1999, is a diktat. It's a military diktat. Yes. It tells a lie against itself, what you are brandishing as the Constitution of Nigeria. It's an illegitimate instrument. Yes. There's nowhere where we all agreed that that would be
even
the
though it begins with "we the people."
No, that's the lie that I'm talking about. And I'm not original here.
It's a fraud.
The patriots have said it. Okay? And Ben Oyebode continues to say it. I mean, I attend meetings on the black table where Ben Oyebode presides. And he will tell you that Constitution is a fraud. That we have to jettison it and do an autochthonous Constitution for ourselves. So please, let us recognize the limitations of the 1999 so-called Constitution. We need a Constitution which reflects the spirit of the age, which captures our imagination. And that's why I say acquiescence by the generality of the people is what has pretended to lend legitimacy to an otherwise illegitimate instrument.
Prof, I'm sorry, Prof, I'm going to have to put you on pause.